We all love Hansung Yu. I mean, this guy is mysterious, he's charming, he's handsome, but ultimately we don't know that much about Hansung Yu. His past is shrouded in mystery, and even though we've actually met the data version of himself when he was younger, it didn't really reveal that much about who he truly is. That said, we do know some lore about Hansung Yu. SIU has even hinted at some things for the future, so today we're gonna break down everything we know about Hansung Yu. If you want more Tower of God content, then be sure to subscribe to the channel because we upload every single day here, mostly Tower of God, although we are starting to cover other series like Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen, so it's a lot of fun here and we definitely want you to stick around. So in Season 1, Hansung Yu was pretty much the primary antagonist, even though Ren was doing all the fighting and almost killed Anakin and Dorsey and all that stuff. Hansung Yu was the one who orchestrated all of the events that took place. He was basically the master puppeteer of everything that went down. And that's because Bomb ending up in the hands of Thug is entirely due to Hansung Yu. He seems to know a lot of what's going to happen in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if he knew that Bomb himself was going to arrive. There's so many weird things around Hansung Yu, and it's implied that the whole reason that he stayed on the second floor when he could have become a high ranker is so that he could find someone like Bomb, an irregular, who could succeed and fulfill Thug's goals. So everything that took place in Season 1, Rachel and Hwaryun and Ho and all that stuff was really ultimately Hansung's doing. It was all a part of his master plan to get Bomb. Now what's really interesting about this is that means that Hansung is a core member of Thug. They rely on him heavily, right? He's known as the deep sea fish or the submerged fish. There's a few different translations, and it's really interesting. Throughout the story, we see these characters from Thug interacting or talking about him, like Augustus, for example. On the 20th floor in Season 2, he's talking to the submerged fish. You know, Hansung is a core member of Thug. We see that he is extremely mischievous. He's willing to do pretty much anything to achieve his goals, but he does it all very slyly and almost with a charm, but it's like an almost evil charm at first. When we first meet him, we think he's kind of evil, but we can see that he has this side to him when he gives all of the test regulars those rings, right? Those graduation rings. But then he tells Bomb, hey, every time you show weakness, I'm gonna kill one of your friends. And then he tells him, we'll see how many of them are alive once you climb the tower. Bro, that's fricked up. Even if he didn't mean it, that is just, that's a whole nother level, right? And to Hansung, it's who cares, right? They're just regulars, and this guy could fulfill Thug's goals. But that sort of begs the question, why is Hansung so intent on using Bomb? And what is his purpose really? Why is he a part of Thug? And you could say that, he just wants to take down Jihad, 10 family heads, whatever, and that probably is it, but it is worth pointing out that when Evankhell, who is very close to Hansung Yu, when Evankhell first met Hansung, and Evankhell wiped out everybody and she was going to kill Hansung, she asked him why he wasn't afraid of dying. And he said, I know I'm gonna die, whatever. Yeah, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was like, whatever. The only thing I'm afraid of is if my resolve and rage and goal will die. And Evankhell said, well, what is your goal? And he said to usher in a new era of the tower. So that's what Hansung wants. So I don't think it's as simple as, oh, he wants revenge, right? He truly just wants a new age of the tower, probably without Jihad and the 10 family heads. But I just love the fact that Hansung, who is an extremely powerful ranker, right? But he's not insane. But even he is you know what? I'm gonna change this. I want to bring about this new era. I just love it. Hansung is pretty awesome. So then ultimately he's confronted by Jihad's army near the end of Season 2. Evankhell rushes in to save him. They're transported away by the Guardian, right? And eventually, Hansung basically teams up with Bomb/Thug and starts training him a little bit. He helps him learn the Shinsu loop and basically teaches Bomb how to maximize his Shinsu. And obviously, Hansung has been Bomb's Shinsu teacher for quite a while. Jinsung was more of the martial arts teacher, kind of. He taught him the floral butterfly piercing technique. That's not exactly a martial art technique that does use Shinsu, but basically Hansung was the main wave controller-esque Shinsu teacher. We see Bam use his techniques throughout the story. So it's cool seeing him come back and teach Bam the Shinsu loop. It makes a lot of sense. And as far as the storyline goes, that's pretty much where Hansung is at. He fought against Chonhee in the latest arc in one of the recent chapters, right along with Karaka's servants. And earlier he had fought at the end of season 2 to help Bam. He fought Drak and he fought Dorian Frog briefly, there was some scuffles there, and even Chonhee. So Hansung he's deeply connected to this story. Like, he was absent for a little while in season 2, but that does not mean that Hansung is not one of the most major characters in Tower of God. Now, talking about some of the lore behind Hansung Yu, I mentioned before the whole thing with Evenkel, and that did happen in his past, right, where Evenkel wiped out everybody and then took an interest in Hansung. And that's a really interesting part of his lore, because Evenkel is obviously top 60, and seeing that you might think, oh my gosh, like, is Hansung even really that strong? Hansung is an absolute monster. This guy is hinted to be potentially top 500 if he wanted to, which is around Yuri's level. Now, Yuri is obviously stronger, but as far as ranks alone go, that's extremely impressive. He turned away his high ranker position offer because he wanted to stay on the second floor and do his shenanigans, right? And he's basically an advanced ranker at the current point. So he's exceptionally strong. Hansung is a master wave controller. They've said it a bunch of times that he's a prodigy, and even though he's a wave controller, he could take on any other position. On top of that, he's also an anima, which is a very hard skill to learn. He's able to control Shinwei or divine sea fish, right? And that's where he got his name, the submerged or the deep sea fish, again, whatever the translation is. And he's extremely gifted with it. Ren is also an anima from Jihad's army, and Hansung just Ren didn't stand a chance against Hansung, fighting anima on anima. So that shows you, Hansung's a beast. I've said that already, but it makes sense because I'm talking about creatures and yeah. Now, one of the weirdest things about Hansung Yu is that as a data, or the data version of Hansung, or as a D rank regular, Hansung knew about V. Now, this is kind of easy to overlook when you're reading through the Hidden Floor arc, but think about that. Hansung, as a D rank regular, knew V. Why? You could chalk it up to just, oh, it's Hansung, he knows everything, but it's like, he was a regular. How does Hansung as a regular know about V? It's kind of mind-boggling. However, the answer could be found in another piece of trivia and lore that is known about Hansung. SIU once stated in one of his blog posts or in one of his Q&As or something that Hansung Yu is, quote, deeply connected to Hendo Lock blood matter. Now, if you don't know, Hendo Lock blood matter is one of the 10 family heads. He was the defender of the team. He's a massive dude. He's like 13 feet tall, right? He's known as the long life turtle. Somehow, Hansung knows him or is connected to him in some way. And if he does know blood matter, perhaps blood matter was on V's side, or perhaps blood matter told Hansung about V for some reason. Maybe he felt regret about the events that happened in the past, and so he wants Bam. Who knows? But Hansung is somehow connected to him, which could explain how he knows about V, because otherwise, how? But yeah, overall, Hansung is very close to Evenkel. I won't talk too much more about that, but they're basically, very close friends, whatever you want to call it, right? But they are close. And Hansung doesn't really have that many other good relationships. Later Ro and him didn't really get along. Obviously, Bam hates him, right? So he's kind of more of a loner, but at the same time, he does have plenty of connections through Fug. I'm not going to talk too much about his powers. Maybe I'll do it in a whole other video or something, but he developed his own Shinsu technique. He does this like water-ish, it's pretty much like raw Shinsu, honestly, because Shinsu is a liquid. He just uses like water Shinsu, and it's very powerful, and he's a gifted teacher. He was able to show Bam how to do the Shinsu loop and all that stuff. And yeah, Hansung is insane when it comes to using Shinsu, and apparently even hand-to-hand combat, because he could take on the role of a fisherman if he wanted to. So overall, that is most of what we know about Hansung Yu. Again, currently he's with Bam and Fug and company, trying to rescue Jin Sung at the nest. So I'm very curious where SIU goes with Hansung's character because he's one of my all-time favorites. I love Hansung. You know, he's someone who you kind of hate in Season 1, but at the same time, you can't really hate him because he's so cool, you know, and mysterious. But then it's cool because the more you read through and you see the story, you realize that he's honestly, like, doing this for what he thinks is the right reasons, and it's very fascinating. So, Hansung, one of my favorite characters. I can't wait to see where SIU takes him. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Really hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to support the channel in a more personal way, then consider becoming a patron over on my Patreon page. There's a lot of cool benefits. I'm currently updating it and trying to change some of the goals and give you guys more content and just find ways to at least give you something for supporting me in that way. So if you want to become a patron over on Patreon, then consider that. The link is down below. I also want to give a huge shout out to our Kings of the Tower, who are the sponsors of the channel. There are currently 3 of them. Big Juice, you're the best. Smap the Slayer Anime, you're the best too. You've been a supporter for a long time. And then Syed Masood, who is a huge supporter of the channel as well. All 3 of you, thank you so much for supporting me. To all of our high rankers and Slayer candidates, E-rank regulars, all of you guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next Tower of God lore video, so definitely stay tuned. Take care.